Coming up on Oxford Weekly News, Oxford residents speak out about a possible plan to build more student housing. But first, the Talawanda High School baseball team starts its first season after the sudden passing of their beloved coach. Welcome to Oxford Weekly News. I'm Ryan Terhune. Thanks for tuning in. Baseball season is here, but 2019 is the first season without Talawanda's Tim Reed coaching the varsity team, but the athletes have no shortage of inspiration. Before Clayton Deathridge threw the first pitch of a new season, he thought of his old coach.
He's taught me a lot about baseball, a lot about life, more about life. But when I was walking on the mound, I just felt Coach Reed in my heart, and so I put TR there. Every time I pitch, I put TR now for Coach Reed. He's always with me. He's always going to be my coach forever.
TR stands for Timmy Reed, a sports educator of over 35 years who died in January of a sudden heart attack. Reed led varsity basketball and baseball at Talawanda, but was remembered as a leader both off and on the field.
You know, I miss him as a friend and as a mentor and as a coach, and I think that really goes back with the guys too. You want to have good ball players, but that's not why we do it, you know. I mean, the competition is a way of making good people, and I think we have good people here.
And early reports say a good team, too, comprised of 7 seniors and 9 juniors that hope to improve on last year's 2-15 record, according to Coach Reed's son, Jimmy Reed.
Last year, we had a better year than before that year, and we're trying to build on it. And we were 1 game away from SWAC, and so I know the kids are hungry, so I know they're ready.
SWAC is the Southwest Ohio Conference, and the Talawanda Brave are off to a strong start, besting Franklin 11-7 in a preseason scrimmage. But for Deathridge and his teammates, the 2019 season will be about more than just wins.
Our look for season right now is win for Coach Reed, first of all, and then second, we're going to win SWAC for Coach Reed.
Talawanda's second home game is scheduled as a tribute to Tim Reed, but for the players, every game will be a tribute to Coach Reed.
Let's go, boys. Braves on 3. 1, 2, 3. Braves!
The Talawanda Brave hope to pick up a second preseason win against the Goshen Warriors Saturday at 11 a.m. at Talawanda High School. Oxford residents got burned once before by housing developers. This week, they took to the City Planning Commission to stop it from happening again. Oxford Weekly News' reporter Joe Gernig has the story.
All those in favor of tabling the motion, say aye.
On Tuesday, March 12th, Oxford City Council tabled a proposed zoning change on Route 27 near Talawanda High School. The proposed change would convert nearly 8 acres of land from R1A, or single-family low-density housing, to R2A, which is single, and two-family residential housing. For Justin Ferris, the applicant, his company Spectre Student Living wants to develop multi-family living units marketed towards young professionals and baby boomers that work in Oxford. However, citizens couldn't forget the last time a company came in with a similar proposal. 5 years ago, Trinitas proposed a similar development, but when it was approved, they turned around and developed housing for students, known today as the Annex. This time, citizens came in with a petition and statements against Justin Ferris and his company, like Alexander Marr.
To quote the first sentence on the opening page of their website, Spectre is a student living developer that places students' needs and desires above all else.
To add to the residents' concerns, OPD's Chief Jones commented on the proposal stating, "These large multifamily developments on the southern end of the city continue to put pressure on existing police resource and response time. It is becoming difficult to maintain service levels without adding to our staffing. With OPD located in Uptown Miles Square, it would take almost 8 minutes to arrive at the entrance of the land." For city staff members like Sam Perry, this zone change would mean further development of the south side of Oxford.
There's an opportunity now for the developer to sit down with neighbors and see if there can be any agreements made, and then report that to city staff or planning commission and let us know.
And according to Justin Ferris, he's going to do just that.
We don't want to just get zoning and then just be open to do whatever we want. We want to make sure that the site plan that we then propose down the road is something that works well for the city as well as the neighborhoods.
Since the proposal was tabled, Spectre will be back soon to have their proposal voted on. The date for the vote is currently unknown. Back to you, Ryan.
You may not have known his name, but you may have recognized his voice. Longtime MUPD dispatcher Warren Bisdorf III has died at the age of 64. Bisdorf began working for the MUPD in 1998 after retiring as a lieutenant from the Washington, D.C. Metropolitan Police Department. Bisdorf also worked as a dispatcher for the Oxford Police Department. Recycling is all the rage for high street businesses this year. Restaurants like Chipotle and Skyline Chili are so popular, 5 Rumpke recycling collection days is no longer enough. Although high recycling positively impacts Oxford's goal to be more green, too much recycling is leading to city ordinance problems.
With the new contract that we have coming up, I'm preparing it now with the assistance of the Environmental Commission. We'll be requesting that the contractors include a Saturday recycling collection. That'll help somewhat.
If you work or live uptown, the city's advice for overflowing recycling bins is to keep items in a safe place until Monday's pickup time. The City of Oxford is making composting easier this year. Starting April 6th, the City of Oxford is starting a pilot program where residents can collect their food scraps in designated buckets to drop off each Saturday morning. So hold on to those old apple cores and eggshells. The drop-off location is 945 South Main Street, behind SDS Pizza. Oxford parks are going wireless. Miami's Associated Government and Oxford's University Relations Committee unanimously passed a motion in support of equipping both the Martin Luther King Jr. Park uptown and Memorial Park with free Wi-Fi. ASG's Secretary of Off-Campus Affairs, Charles Kennick, thinks this opportunity will provide more than just another place for students to study.
Having amenities in the community brings more people to live here permanently, which keeps more businesses around, which then helps Miami students. So it's always trying to find those things that get the feedback loop for everybody to be involved and everybody to be able to benefit from it.
The city is in talks with several telecom companies to evaluate the final costs of installation. Kennick believes the project will be completed by the end of the summer. Journalism professor and former department chair Richard Campbell will be honored with one of Miami's most prestigious awards. Campbell will receive the university's Benjamin Harrison Medallion on March 19th on a university awards ceremony according to his many nominators. Miami graduates named Campbell as the professor who had the greatest impact on their time as undergraduates. Coming up on Oxford Weekly News, hear from each of the candidates for the 2019 student body presidential election, plus what the person they hope to replace has to say about the job. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Welcome back to Oxford Weekly News. Students can vote for next year's student body president starting Tuesday, March 19th. We asked the candidates about the 3 most important priorities for each of their respective campaigns.
Well, the first and foremost, our number 1 is student mental health. And then second, we really want to focus on Miami's dining, because when you eat healthy, you feel better, and that is all just kind of product of being a good student. And then finally, we really want to focus on both on-campus and off-campus student safety.
So if we were to pick 3 main goals of our platform, we have a lot of goals, but the 3 biggest ones, the ones that we're most passionate about, are in-person diversity training, the ingress policy, repealing the one-door policy, and incremental parking tickets.
So 3 main things I'm trying to change on campus would be, number 1, improving the dining situation. Number 2 would be creating a safer environment surrounding drinking, and number 3 would be expanding resources to more students outside of just Farmer.
Our 3 main pillars are mental health, sustainability, and diversity and inclusion, and through each of these pillars we have various initiatives in order to ignite that positive change.
One of our main priorities is pretty much restructuring the viewpoint on ASG, providing a fresh perspective to ASG leadership, and overall closing that gap between individuals on campus and ASG. In addition, we want to advocate more for our marginalized students on campus as it pertains to diversity and inclusion. Finally, our big thing that we're really proud of that sets us apart is our emphasis on Greek life.
All of these hopefuls are vying to be the successor to our guest this week. Reporter Dylan Saraki talked to the current student body president, Megan Murtagh, about the realities of the position. Dylan?
Thanks, Ryan. So, Megan, a year ago at this time, you were a candidate. What was your platform? What were the main things that you were running on?
So, Vincent and I ran on 3 main categories, which included health and wellness, campus amenities, and diversity and inclusion.
Okay, so now that you're nearing the end of your time as student body president, how would you say you have done in each of those 3 areas?
Yeah, so starting with health and wellness, right now we're actually working on the creation of health and wellness vending machines. So the idea for that would be to put a vending machine in Armstrong that had solely health and wellness objects in it. So that included Band-Aids, medicine, as well as condoms and birth control. So that's something that we're working with right now with Student Affairs and Tri-Health. And then in regards to campus amenities, something right now we're working on is parking and dining, only that has kind of been a whole 4-year-long struggle. I've been in ASG, and that's something that we do not see much improvement happening. So every year, a different president has an initiative with dining. So something Vince and I are working on, we're getting more ethnic and cultural food in the dining hall. So dining was actually super receptive to that, and they're looking to add noodles to the stir fry, so that's pretty exciting. But in regards to parking, we're still having the conversation about how we can reduce parking fees, but ultimately it does not look like that will happen this year. And then in regards to diversity and inclusion, right now Vince and I are really just trying to still kind of get a general sense of the diversity and inclusion initiatives on campus. There's so many, so how can we bring all of these together and as a student body really work together to improve diversity and inclusion. So that's something our Secretary of Diversity, Inclusion, and Student Government has done a great job on, and we have been supporting her throughout it. But it's just such a big problem that's not one thing that can really fix it.
So, Megan, more broadly, what pieces of advice would you have for these candidates? You were in their place a year ago this time. What do you wish you had known before taking the office?
Yeah, so I guess I have 2 main pieces of advice, one being more general, and that would be being student body president is not a 9-to-5 job. And that is something that I heard before I was elected, but I didn't realize how much it rang true until I was in the position. So my advice would be to always just carry yourself with the utmost confidence, but also respect everyone you meet, and really try to remember that you are presenting the student body with every action. And then another piece of I had advice is that you are going to face roadblocks, and there are going to be times that you're discouraged and you think you aren't getting anything accomplished. But just remember, you are looking out for the greater good of so many people. And remember that when you're going into administration, and even if they say no, it's okay to push back and be like, well, actually, as a student leader, I believe this. And that is okay to say, and they will listen to you.
Awesome. Thank you for being here with us today, Megan. This is Oxford Weekly News. We'll be right back.
Welcome back to Oxford Weekly News. I'm Ryan Terhune. An internationally renowned journalist who focuses her reporting on ISIS brought her work to campus March 13th. The New York Times' Rukmini Callimachi talked about her interviews with members of ISIS and her job reporting on terrorism. Assistant Professor of Journalism Rosemary Pennington says that in order to defend against groups like ISIS, you need to try to understand them.
The agenda is telling the story that is there and helping people understand what's happening. And to be able to understand what's happening in Iraq or Syria right now, or in the war on terror, you have to understand the mindset of the people who, we see as our enemies. And if you don't understand that, then you're never going to be able to find a way again of counteracting their violence.
Pennington is publishing a book this fall titled The Media World of ISIS, which looks at how ISIS uses social media in order to create an imagined state, although they are losing physical territory. Miami graduate students in the Environmental Science and Sustainability program are working with the City of Oxford to find ways to reduce its carbon footprint. By taking a greenhouse gas inventory, students and city officials were able to pinpoint what causes most emissions and brainstorm possible alternatives. Grad student Shashi Vaish thinks some of these changes involve almost no costs at all.
I would say just educate the people to reduce the amount of electricity they're using. If they're not in a building, just switch off the lights and go. I think that might affect a lot, and that won't involve any kind of cost. In fact, they would get their electricity bills reduced.
While the greenhouse gas inventory only applies to the municipal government now, IES plans to analyze the rest of the city's emission data in the coming years. Trees can signify a fresh start. Former Oxford Police Chief Bob Holsworth and resident Ellis Miller are being memorialized with the placement of 2 new trees and matching plaques where family members can visit. On Arbor Day, April 26th at noon, members of the community are invited for the unveiling ceremony for the memorials at the Oxford Community Park. Come pay your respects and well wishes to both families. The Public Arts Commission of Oxford, or PACO, is seeking proposals for a work of art that will be installed at the new Aquatic Center opening this summer. Artists will submit their work via an online forum provided by the Commission. The work will be financed by both the Oxford Community Foundation and the Aquatic Center fundraising campaign. That's all for this week. Thanks for joining us. I'm Ryan Terhune. You can watch us online or on our YouTube channel. You can also connect with us on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook at Oxford Weekly News.